So our last testimony, Dexter. Oh, there you are. He's the well-dressed one. So anyways, without further ado, let me welcome Deni. Go for it, Dex. Thank you.
Good thing about going last is we're short on time, so I really just want to start by thanking everyone who has part in being here today. And that's not only for those who have invited me, but for all brothers and sisters in the Colby ministry that have personally affected my life and truly saved it. I am so grateful and so thankful. And every time you guys invite me to talk here, I want to make sure that you guys know how much you truly mean. Now, prison for me, like my brother, was a very terrible experience. Not only because I was physically incarcerated, but because I was in this emotionally and spiritually desolate place. I had committed this crime that I felt separated me not only from society, but from my family and friends and God as well. I felt I had committed this sin that was irreconcilable, as if I could never be loved again. Now, I went down for multiple bank robberies, and I began to see myself as just this thief who was undeserving of love, who, like I said, just could never be loved again. Now, prison itself, it's really designed to reinforce this belief about yourself. And the most important thing about humanity is self-dignity, right? And realizing who we are as a person. And I felt that, at least in the prisons I was in, dignity was the first thing that they tried to remove from you. And it's the way the system is set up. And I understand it's such a large prison system, parts of it have to be run basically like a factory to keep things going. But when you dehumanize people and you make them subhuman, they begin to see themselves that way and they begin to act that way as well. And so for the next 5 years of my life, I would slowly and slowly become less human, or feel that I was becoming less human. And it would kill me because there was one person who was there for me pretty much through my entire incarceration. It was my sister. And I would see her at visitation, and I would see in her eyes the way she would see that I was sliding and sliding farther down into the cesspit, that I was losing identity in terms of who I was, and that I was slowly drowning. Now, I had been locked up for over 5 years at this point, and like I said, I was drowning. And there was this particularly violent episode. I was in medium custody at the time, and it really shook me to the core. And I really don't want to talk too much about the event, but it really changed me in this night. And I remember going to my cell and laying in my bunk and thinking, I can't do this anymore. That I was just physically, mentally, and spiritually broken. And I remember crying to God, and I said, and this is the first time I'd spoken to him in half a decade, and I said, God, if you're out there, if there's anything, please just give me a sign and show me that you care. And I remember looking out my window as the sun was setting, and the way it was setting, it came in to where the prison bars made this gigantic cross on the wall, and I'd never seen that before. And I remember instantly laughing and telling God, we'd have to do something better than that. And sure enough, he did. Within a few days, I was moved to Torre, and I was put back in general population. And shortly thereafter, I was moved to what's known as PWE, which is a prison fellowship program. Now, I had not done any type of Christian walk the entire time I had been locked up, but here I was now suddenly surrounded by brothers who had been directly affected by Colby already. And this was my first taste of the ministry. Now, thanks to them, I would be invited to my first Colby retreat. And this is just, I want to talk about how important this moment is, because two of the brothers have already brought it up. Going through those doors and seeing those gentlemen lined up, ready to just give me a hug with smiles on their face, that was the first time in over half a decade that I felt that there was some humanity in me. I had not been hugged like that since I had been locked up. And for a brother to embrace me like that, I felt human again. And it was really from that moment forward that my life began changing. Now, there are a lot of people who haven't been to Colby, so I'm not going to talk about, specifically the events that happened there. But for those of you who have, you know that the next 3 days are so transformative. And there are so many things that happened. There are so many people here that were actually there with me in my first Colby. And once again, I am so thankful for the part you played in that. And what Colby gave me, and see, I'm an adult convert. I proclamation through St. Mary's University my freshman year of college when I was 19 years old. And that was really the end of my faith. I didn't practice it after that. And it was nothing against the catechist that I had. I was just a lost person. But at Colby, in just 3 short days, I was able to gain an understanding and love for the Eucharist, for the sacrament of reconciliation, and for all the other beautiful sacraments that the Catholic faith has that no one else has. And in that first act of reconciliation, I remember I was able to unload a decade worth of baggage that, I don't know, not only did I feel like God forgave me, but I was finally able to forgive myself. And I wish Father Clay was still here, because he probably doesn't remember it. But he was actually the priest that held the Mass that day, and he gave me my first communion that I received in over a decade. Now, with Colby, immediately after my Colby retreat, like my brothers here, I was on fire for the Lord. I was able to become a part of the Catholic ministry in prison. I became an RCI instructor. I absorbed everything I could, from Aquinas to modern day saints to, little Teresa Flower. My Catholic faith became my life, and I delved into it. And I'm so blessed to have been able to serve on future retreats. And just for those who haven't been on retreat yet, who are contemplating it, when I was able to go back as a volunteer, I was able to pay more attention this time as not a retreatant, and see that the outside team members, to see the way that this ministry affects their lives as well, and see how they're able to grow in faith and forgive themselves for the things that they have done in their life as well. It's not for just those of us who are inmates, but for you as well. God is working. That morning I woke up and I told God, I said, or I didn't tell God, I didn't tell God anything, but I said to God, I said, if I'm ready, let me go home. If I'm not, you keep me here and don't make me beg. And I got to set off begging. And I took that as a sign from God. And the very next year as well, I went and I said the same thing to God. I said, if I'm ready to go home, let me go home. And I received another set off. And this third time, I woke up that morning, and I just knew, it's like God gave me grace to know. I said, God, I'm ready to go. Please have faith in me. I'm ready to walk this out. And sure enough, by April, I was given a F5 and I was released. And getting out was even harder than being in prison. I was released to a state halfway house. Now I want you to picture prison with barbed wire fences, the cells, and all of that. And that is exactly what a halfway house is. The only difference is there are no guards to keep order. And so this place is like prison, but without supervision. And it was absolutely miserable. And I remember laying there in my own once again and telling God, I said, I was wrong. I'm not ready to get out. I can't do this. Just send me back to prison. And it was a reality check, because in that moment, when I was getting out, I thought that it was about me. That, okay, I'm good to walk this out. And I started to focus more on who I was instead of focusing on who God was in terms of me. And it was a moment that humbled me. And sure enough, my sister can come and attest to this. I had this conversation with her. I said, I need to go back. I can't do this. And the very next day, they actually shipped me to Austin to another halfway house, which honestly was just as bad. But I was able to reconcile with them. We were close there, and they were able to take me in. And so I was given a home. Now, there have been so many things that have happened in terms of since I've been out, been under negative. But like I said, you guys have instilled in me the belief that everything that's bad that happens to me is not happening because I'm a bad person or because of anything negative. It's an opportunity to offer a sacrifice to God, to know these moments, to be more thankful for the things that are good in me, and for the things that are bad, being able to give them back for the things that I have done bad. Now, since I've been out, there's been other disappointments. I was hoping to be able to tell you guys today that I'd be starting school again at UTSA this fall. Unfortunately, parole is not approved by or released to Deni County. I'm still stuck in Deni County. But I'm able to take that as a sign from God that it's just not my time for that. And I'm completely fine with that. On top of that, I have just another example of how you guys have affected me. Excuse me, sorry. I lost my last grandparent this past month. And instead of being a time of sadness, it was one of joy. Because she was the only grandparent who had faith. And right before she passed away, I was able to pray with her. And she was able to tell me she loved me. And she was able to receive her final sacraments. And so to know and have the ability to say and arena for her and know that she's with God now. It's truly a blessing. And that's something that I never would have had it not been for you guys as well. And so, being considered time, I just honestly want to say that you guys have truly saved me. You have saved so many countless lives. There are so many brothers that I know would honestly love to stand up here for 15 minutes and tell you just how great this ministry is and how much you have truly done for us. And once again, I'm so thankful, and I pray that I'm able to just make you guys proud and give back just a fraction of what you've done for me to my community as well. Thank you.